What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to talk about some Funko Pops that I hope get made, at some point in the future. Really no rush on these, but it just would be nice to see these produced eventually. Of course, this is just my own personal list. I'm not trying to speak for anybody else. You can feel free to share your own list in the comments. And yeah, I want to go ahead and actually jump right into this. I will say this real quick, though. If you've been with the channel for a good while, then you already know some of the things that are going to be on my list, and they're still on my list because they still have not been produced. But there are some new ideas that I've come up with as well that I'm going to share with you all here. Now, first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way. I still would really love to see Pops based on Afro Samurai. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm going to be realistic and say that it's very unlikely unless Afro Samurai makes some sort of return, unless there's like another follow-up series or movie, basically something to really draw a lot of public attention to Afro Samurai. I just don't see it happening, but it's unfortunate because I really do love this anime. I think the characters have some great designs, and if you like anime, if you never checked out Afro Samurai, definitely look into it. It started off with initially, I think it was like a 5 or 6 episode run, and then they had a follow-up to that as well, and it basically was like a movie follow-up if I remember correctly. So not a whole lot of material for Afro Samurai, but what is available is really awesome, so definitely do check that out. And yes, I still want the King, from Burger King. It's not like I'm the biggest fan of Burger King. I just think that the King is funny. Like, he's so unintentionally creepy, and I think Burger King eventually just started to have fun with that, the fact that he does have that creep element. And remember they had those video games that came out. I don't remember how long ago it was a long time ago, but I actually did enjoy the little Sneak King game. I thought it was pretty funny. So yeah, I actually do still want to see the King from Burger King. And of course Funko does have McDonald's Pops, and they have Pops from other fast food lines as well, like Jollibee is one that comes to mind, and Jack in the Box as well. So who knows, Burger King, it actually could happen eventually. And speaking of McDonald's, I still would like to see a Pop based on Mac tonight. This character was kind of popular in the late 80s, had some pretty cool commercials, and he stuck around beyond that. There were actually animatronics, I think, in some McDonald's restaurants up until like a couple of years ago, it seems. And also, I think this character has still been featured in marketing in Asia, if I'm not mistaken. So the character hasn't completely gone away. It would seem that McDonald's must still have the rights to the character. So yeah, Mac tonight actually could happen. I think that would be kind of cool. And you all, I'm focusing here mainly on Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but just in general, it would be nice to see some more Pops based on fighting games. Now, with Street Fighter in particular, I really would like to see Vega. I really would like to see M. Bison especially. I was really surprised that he didn't get produced before when Funko was doing Street Fighter Pops. I don't know if they still have the license or not, but if they do, it would be nice to see more of those figures. And they actually did an M. Bison action figure, but they just didn't do a Pop for whatever reason. So I still would like to see that. With Mortal Kombat, so many awesome characters that have not been done. There's been at least 2 waves of Mortal Kombat Pops, not counting the movie. The movie was actually, if you want to count that in, that'd be like another 3rd wave. And there's been some exclusives as well with Mortal Kombat, but still plenty of other characters that could be done. And like I said, fighting games in general, it would be nice to see them get some more love. And if you're a big enthusiast of fighting games, definitely let me know what other figures you would like to see. Do remember with Tekken that they did do a good number of Tekken Pops actually, but still there's some characters from that franchise even that some people may want to see as Pops. Now, I've been saying this for years. I definitely feel like a broken record, but I just have to mention it again. With Freddy Krueger, obviously Funko has had the license. I think still has the license because they actually put this figure out again not that long ago. But I really would like to see some variants. There's many different designs for Freddy because, especially once they got into the 3rd movie, the Dream Warriors and all that, and Freddy fighting back in his different ways. There's been so many different variants of Freddy, and I would just like to see a couple of those as Pops. And then, yes, I know with Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th, there's been a lot of litigation, a lot of confusion around that character. It seems like things are finally cleared up, at least to an extent. So, if Funko can return to focusing on Jason, I know that they did an update of the previous common recently, and it actually does look a little bit different. I actually compared those in one of my videos. But if they could ever do Jason X, I would love to see that. And yes, I know Jason X is very cheesy, like the Uber version of Jason, but I can't help it. I still like it. I actually saw that movie in theater, and I did enjoy it, even, you know, for the cheesiness that it was. I did enjoy it. So yeah, I just want to see more of Jason, more of Freddy with some variants. And keeping the focus on horror, I really think that the Pilgrim from Thanksgiving will be on the way. There's already action figures that have been revealed with other companies. Those figures are going up for pre-order and things, so I think it's just a matter of time with Funko. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. And there's variations of the killer that they could do. They could have one without the burnt mask and then one with the burnt mask. And the killer actually wears another costume in the movie that I won't spoil here in case you haven't seen the movie yet. But he wears another really awesome costume that would be cool to see as a figure as well. It would actually fit in with one of my other collections. So yeah, really looking forward to that, assuming that it's going to happen. Pearl is maybe a little unlikely, but that would be cool to see. I really did enjoy Pearl, and I enjoyed X as well, the movie that came before. Mia Goth did a great job with that character. So in particular with Pearl, though, just because it is a period piece, the costuming stands out more, especially her in the red dress. You put her in the red dress with the axe. I think that's an awesome Funko Pop there. And I threw in Megan here as well. I think Megan is going to happen. It's already rumored to happen. We should see maybe 2 or 3 variants of that character, including a battle damage one. So that's just one I'm looking forward to. And out of all these here, I think Megan is most likely to happen. System of a Down is one of my favorite bands, and I would love to see them get some pop figures if they're interested in that. They do have a official website that has some merchandise on it. I don't see like any collectible figures, you know, type of things going on, but it would be very cool to get a pop album, of course, and maybe the individual members. I would just love to see that. And you know, definitely do the members with their, you know, instruments, including the drums. You know, I definitely would like to see that as well. So yeah, big fan of System of a Down, and that would be pretty awesome to see. Of course, again, would love to see Wu-Tang Clan, and Wu-Tang actually does have plenty of merchandise out there, including collectibles. They actually do have action figures. Some of the members have action figures. I've even seen some statues with, you know, Wu-Tang members. So I think this is possible. It's just with Wu-Tang, it does get a little bit tricky, you know, when they have 9 core members. You could say 10 in a way, maybe even 11 in a way. Depends on how you look at it, you know, in their overall history. So yeah, when you have multiple members like that, and then I think as far as their marketing is concerned and their merchandising, it gets a little tricky because I don't think that's actually in the hands of the core members. So yeah, I know there's a lot behind the scenes that would have to go on for this to take place, but I still would love to see that happen. I would love to see a couple of pop albums. Of course, you got to go with their first album, Into the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. ODB would love to see a pop album, you know, for his first album as well, maybe even his second as well there. And then the members have so many, you know, different looks through over the years that I would just love to see a good mix of the individual members. And it would be crazy if Funko actually did like a 9-pack of them. That would be insane to see. But yeah, there's a lot of potential with Wu-Tang. This could happen eventually if things get worked out with the rights. When it comes to From Software games, Funko has done a couple of pops here and there. With Bloodborne, they did the Hunter, which I do like that pop. I do have it in my collection, but there's a lot of great characters in Bloodborne, and Bloodborne is my favorite video game of all time, so I would love to see more characters. I understand that with some of the enemies, it might be difficult to put them into pop form, but still, it would be nice to just see some of the characters from Bloodborne. Also, Elden Ring, I put a lot of time into Elden Ring. I really enjoyed that game as well. A lot of great characters there to work with. And as far as both of these games are concerned, I really did enjoy them to the point that I put the time in to get the platinum trophy with both of them. So yeah, I really do love those games. And of course, From Software has plenty of other awesome games as well. Now, Funko has done some other pops based on some of the other games also. Like, for example, Sekiro, they do have the lead character, of course, as a pop. So yeah, I think Funko must still have the license. I just want to see more love for From Software. Getting into Marvel, I still would love to see a pop based on Mr. Fixit. This is that gangster personality of the Hulk, and he actually had a recent comic run as well, you know, focusing directly on Mr. Fixit. So that could be in the minds of Funko. Maybe it's already in the works for all I know. I would love to see that. And if they did him with, you know, a Tommy gun, that would be very cool. Kind of doubt that would happen, you know, to have him with the weapon. But regardless, Mr. Fixit Hulk would be very awesome to see. And with Across the Spiderverse, we did see, you know, some Penny Parker show up there right at the end. And so maybe a pop of her could still happen. I'm surprised we didn't get a pop the first time around. I think she did get a minifigure, but yeah, Penny Parker with Spider, I just would love for her to actually get a pop, maybe even a deluxe pop, you know, because of the size of Spider, you know, to have that scale going on. I think that would be very cool to see, and I'm gonna hold out hope for that, even though Funko hasn't done it yet. Like I said, you know, the franchise is not done just yet, so Penny Parker with Spider could still happen. And also Doc Ock, I would love to see her as well. You know, this particular version of Doc Ock, she actually is still alive. She had a scene that was going to be in Across the Spider-Verse, and apparently it got cut. So the character is still alive. Who knows? Maybe she'll have a little appearance in the third movie. I don't know if she would be a major player or anything. It would be nice to see her show up in the third movie though, and yeah, definitely wouldn't be nice to get a pop of her. Then focusing on DC, because I am still a big fan of DC, and I really enjoyed the Secret Six comics. I didn't finish them out. I think there's still a couple of books that I need to go back to wrap that up. And they did have a sort of revolving roster going on. It wasn't always the same characters, but there were some characters that had a lot of issues in more than one way, basically, within the Secret Six run. Catman, they actually managed to make that character pretty cool, even though he seems cheesy at first. Catman is actually a pretty cool character. A comic book version of Deadshot would be very nice as well. Like I said, so many great characters. There's also Scandal, Savage, and Knockout, I think, you know, one of the greatest couples in DC that kind of gets overlooked sometimes. And Ragdoll, I'm a big fan of Ragdoll. I love the way that Ragdoll was written throughout the Secret Six comics. So yeah, I'm still holding out hope that Funko will do some of these characters as pops, and Funko has done some more DC than I think some people may give them credit for, because in previous videos like this, there are characters that I mentioned that now have Funko Pops, like Etrigan the Demon, you know, now has a pop. There's also Deadman, who now has a pop, and there's some other characters as well that I've mentioned previously that now have pops. So yeah, I think Funko's going to continue to show some love for DC. Still focusing on DC, but in particular focusing on Gotham, and of course Batman and his rogues gallery and everything. Would love to see some more characters that, you know, basically reside within Gotham or mainly operate in Gotham. Ghostmaker would be very cool. I know he's sort of an international hero slash like anti-hero type character, but yeah, he would be very cool visually, you know, as a Funko Pop. Great detail with him. Professor Pig is rumored to maybe show up on the big screen, but I think that is just a big rumor right now. But regardless, Professor Pig would make for an interesting pop figure. And Talon as well. I think a Talon could look very cool, and I know there's different Talons, of course, but just any Talon basically. I really like their design. I always have liked their design, so I think that would be visually cool as a pop. And then some more characters. Clown Hunter as well, I think would look for pretty cool as a pop, especially, you know, you could do him like maybe as a con exclusive. I think that would work out pretty well. Batwing, I like the character's design. I'm not super crazy about the name because of course it gets a little bit confusing because we know Batwing as the vehicle, but this is Batwing the character. But yeah, I like his suit design. And Duke Thomas the Signal also would look pretty awesome, especially if there's a variant of him that's glow in the dark. That would be awesome to see. So yeah, I really do like these supporting characters within the Batman mythos. And focusing in particular on Batman, now that we know Funko can do an awesome figure of a character riding horseback, because they did that with this Pop Asia figure, I would love to see the Dark Knight Batman on horseback. That would be so cool to see. And like I said, we know that Funko can pull that off now. That would be very awesome to see. Going old school here for a moment, of course, I really do enjoy collecting Masters of the Universe, and I have the majority of the figures that Funko has produced, except for the original run of figures that have been long vaulted. I don't have any of those, but I still like the, you know, the more modern Masters of the Universe figures. One character that feels, you know, like it's missing though is Man-E-Faces. I would love to see that, and maybe Funko could work it out where they can actually, you know, spin the heads around so you see the different faces, or maybe they would just do three different variants of the pop. Regardless, I would go for Man-E-Faces. That would be an easy buy for me. When it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles really just because, you know, it's always the 4 turtles, and I just feel like, you know, that would pile up so quickly basically. But I do like some of the supporting characters. I actually do have Casey Jones Pops and the Rat King. I would really like to see the Rat King. I feel like when I was young, he was a character that showed up a good bit in the animated series because he's just, you know, one of those villains that's kind of easy to beat up on basically. But yeah, it would be cool to see the Rat King. That's a pop I actually would add to my collection. The mask, whether it's Jim Carrey, you know, his version or the comic book version. I just think regardless, it would be really nice to see the mask. I would especially like to see the Jim Carrey version though, because he did have several different outfits, several different looks throughout the movie. That movie is just amazing. He did such a great job in it, and a lot of the effects actually still hold up to this day. So yeah, The Mask is an amazing movie, and that character just in general would be awesome to see. Funko did Terminator Pops. You know, I do the rumor mills, of course, with my Funko News video, so I knew that Terminator Pops were on the way, and then they turned out to be Terminator Dark Fate Pops, which was kind of disappointing. Even when those came out, I was still hoping, I was kind of holding out hope. I was like, well, maybe they still will do some figures based on the first Terminator and maybe T2, and it hasn't happened yet. Not going to say that it can't happen. I would love for it to happen though, especially focusing on T2. You know, I would love to see the T1000 with some different variants, and you know, there's other good possibilities there as well. You know, maybe the Terminator even on his motorcycle as a pop ride. You know, that'd be cool to see. So yeah, I'm going to keep holding out hope that maybe we'll get some more Terminator Pops eventually. The Terminator Pops that I think a lot of people really would like to see. As far as comics are concerned, I just want to shout out two here. There are some other big name comics that I think would be cool to see as Funko Pops, but there's just so much drama in the comedy world right now that I just don't want to get into certain individuals in this particular video. I prefer to keep things kind of light. But yeah, I do want to shout out Bill Burr. I think Bill Burr is an amazing comic that's living right now, still doing his thing. He's very sharp-witted, and he puts a lot of thought into what he says. There's a lot of truth behind it, and he was actually friends with Patrice O'Neal, and that's what they have in common. Both of these comics put a lot of philosophy behind what they're saying, a lot of thought into it, a lot of real world talk behind the things that they're saying. It's not just silliness, but both of these guys very hilarious, very sharp witted. Unfortunately, Patrice O'Neal did pass away over 10 years ago now at this point. One thing that I think would be cool about a pop of him is that if people are not familiar with his work, you know, maybe this would help to you know, grab their attention and encourage them to check out his work to see what he's about. Like I said, an amazing comic, definitely my favorite comic of all time, and Bill Burr is my favorite comic living right now. I really do have a lot of love for these two guys here. I think they are amazing. Then Dexter. There are a lot of fans of Dexter out there. I really enjoyed the first couple of seasons, even though the series didn't play out in a way that I enjoyed. I still really enjoyed those first seasons so much that I think it would be cool to see a pop of Dexter, definitely with a blood splattered variant, because that would make so much sense for the character. I don't know if we necessarily need any of the supporting characters, but I wouldn't be mad at that. But yeah, Dexter, like I said, with at least one variant of him would be cool to see. Then The Wire, we know that we have Pops on the way based on The Wire. They've already been available for pre-order. There's still more potential there. Now, the character that played Omar, he did pass away somewhat recently. Unfortunately, Michael Kenneth Williams passed away in 2021. So I know that's a touchy thing. So maybe it would take a while before Funko could try to work that out. I completely understand that. And Marlo being such a major, I'm just going to say straight up villain on this series, I think would be very cool to see as a pop. So we'll see what happens. You know, right now there's 3 figures based on The Wire that are on the way, but there's a lot of potential there for more. If you're a big fan of The Wire, definitely let me know which characters you want to see from the series. And to wrap things up here for my most wanted figures, of course, we already have a pop of John Wick, and he does have a chase. But there is so much potential, in particular with John Wick 4. I would love to see a full wave of figures based on this particular movie, because it sets up so many awesome characters. I thought the villain had amazing wardrobe. Basically, I think he would look so cool, you know, as a pop, because of the amazing outfits that he would wear. It would be very cool also to see a pop ride of John Wick, especially, you know, based off of what he did with the vehicle in this movie. So yeah, so many awesome characters in this movie. I think that would be very cool to see. Like I said, full wave of John Wick 4. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that maybe it could happen. So that was my own personal list of Funko Pops that I hope get made. Again, I'm just speaking for myself here, but I do look forward to hearing your own thoughts in the comments. Let me know which Pops you would like to see produced. And also, I want you to kind of talk about the likelihood of those figures actually happening. That's something that I tried to do throughout the video. I do think the majority of what I discussed here could happen. There are some long shots in the mix, I realize that. But yeah, I think the majority are possibilities. But yeah, let me know how likely you think it is for the Pops that you're interested in to actually be produced at some point. Thank you all so much for taking the time to check this out. I really do appreciate that. And I will talk to you all again real soon.